Hey everybody, Shawn Pope here with Nuspire Networks. Just want to give a quick update on a new ransomware strain in the wild called Scarab. Technically newer, it was actually recognized early June, but I mean there's hundreds of ransomwares basically every week that come out, so it just kind of fell on the radar. The reason it's popular right now is it's using one of the biggest spam email bots in the world, which is Nuspire's botnet. So this happened early morning hours, and within the first 4 hours it actually sent out 12 million spam messages. So that's why this caught the attention of so many people. This isn't the first strain that Nuspire's botnet has pushed within the last year per se, so this is actually like the fourth one that we've known that Nuspire's spam bot has been using or been pushing out. So along with Locky, which everyone's familiar with, Scarab Ransomware was another smaller one, and Globe Imposter was another big one. That was more towards the end of third quarter. Globe Imposter was big. But Scarab, it's not anything necessarily special per se. Currently there's been 4 really main that we've came across in our testing, at least in our environment. 4 main subject lines, and it's typically scanned by, and then it'll have either HP or Lexmark, basically a popular printer brand. And what it wants you to think is that the attached files that are in there are actual like images scanned from a printer, whereas they're not. The attachment is actually a malicious VB script file like we see all the time. When that's executed by an unsuspecting user, ultimately it goes out to a URL, and that's where it downloads the Scarab ransomware. The current version of Scarab doesn't actually change the file names, so a lot of times with ransomware, when a file is encrypted, the ransomware will scramble that file name. That way you don't know what it is. That way you can't pick and choose what you want to have decrypted or not decrypted. So in this case, it actually keeps your file names the same, and then it's appending somewhat of a weird extension. We see all kinds of extensions, and that's typically where we get our ransomware names from, is usually the dot extension name. So dot Locky, or in this case it's dot a email address and then dot Scarab. So that's something new. The email address is actually support@protonmail.com, and the support is actually misspelled, which is kind of interesting why they do that, but I mean it's malware, so half the time it's somewhat of a joke, and then it becomes popular like this. Another interesting thing about this one is once your files are encrypted, we always see the ransom note that comes up, and it's typically associated with some sort of Bitcoin payment method. In this case, there's not an actual amount. The author actually just put, we'll determine the amount based on how long it takes you to message us to say you're infected. So I'm not sure how long that could be or how much it's going to cost, but Bitcoin's at an all-time high, so I would imagine that they're trying to get as much as they can right now. One good thing about Scarab is that it's not really difficult to detect. It's not very sophisticated like a Locky with the DGA and all that stuff. So right now, I believe the most recent time I checked, it was 36 out of 60 anti-malware, antivirus solutions on VirusTotal that currently had signatures for it. So that's pretty good, being that it's as new as it is. So 36 out of 60, that's a good thing. The bad thing is there's no way to decrypt the files without paying the ransom. So sometimes we'll have those decryptors available, whether it was made from something previous, and we're able to use that again. As of right now, there isn't one available, so the only way to get your files back is obviously paying the ransom, which we never would say to do. That just encourages this type of action, and they're going to continue to make ransomware as long as people are paying the ransom. Obviously, the best case scenario is just to be aware of it. That's why we make these videos, so now you know it's out there, and just pay attention. Don't click on suspicious links. Definitely don't open the attachments, and just keep your eyes open. Thanks.